Hey, what's up, everybody? I am back for video 48 of 365. My name is Samantha, and I'm a therapist, and I love to talk about self-concept and transformation and law of assumption and all those great things. I'm doing a video every day for a year to get better at public speaking. It was to get over my fear of public speaking, if I could speak properly. But now I really don't have a fear anymore, which is very cool after only 48 videos. So anybody that's having trouble out there with any type of fear, I do recommend that you face it, whatever that is, because it's not real anyway. It's just a perception. So you just start doing things and you start to get more confident as you do things and you start to believe in yourself more. And that's definitely what I've been experiencing. And just the daily video is like super awesome because you don't have that time lag in between today and a couple days from now when you could possibly say, I don't feel like doing that today. Well, I don't get to do that. I got to do one every day. So I don't get to say I don't feel like doing it. I'm doing it. So, and I chose to do that because I wanted to show up for me. And so I recommend you guys do that for you. And you'll see that your life will shift when you start to put yourself first. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And partly, and I've got notes here as always, so I can stay on track, because normally it's hard for me to stay on track, but I'll get better. So one of the things I wanted to say was, look at the universe as your butler. It's kind of bringing things to you. It's answering the door for you. It's bringing your Amazon packages to you and opening them up and showing you, here, look at this. It's just kind of your sidekick. Look at it like that. It's like, what do you want? And look at the universe as your butler. It'll bring it to you. And we have to let go and allow things to happen, things to come, instead of trying to control and force things. So one of the first things I like to talk about in helping people kind of release the resistance is to just remember we're trying to just feel a little bit better. We're trying to soothe ourselves into a different mental state to where we can perceive something else, to where we can create another perception, because whatever mental state you're in, that's what you're perceiving from every time. So we have to, I'm always fidgeting with something, so I dropped it. That's what that noise was. Sorry about that. So it's kind of like we have to shift the mind over to a different direction, like deliberately shift it. And so when we do that, it kind of starts to fire and wire new neurons in the brain and starts to tell the brain, hey, we're thinking this way now. And the thing about, I talk about identity a lot. And identity is huge. You have to shift your identity. And to do that, you're basically shifting your mental state. That starts to create a new identity. And I've talked about identity a lot, but when you finally do shift your identity, which means you're identifying from, living from a different state of having something that you want or being something that you want, it's so crazy. I was thinking about it today, but it naturally changes you. Naturally. You don't have to do any work. It just kind of shifts you into like, you don't want to talk to the same people anymore, or vice versa. You want to talk to people you haven't talked to in a while, or you want to eat different foods, or you don't want to eat as much, or you like different movies and books now, and maybe you hated writing before and now you want to start writing. And maybe there's a hobby that you never thought you'd ever be interested in. And things like that start to just kind of reveal themselves naturally. That's really cool. Even today, I had this, I saw a video about computer like coding, like software programming. And I was like, for a split second, I was like, that sounds really interesting to me. That has never sounded interesting to me, ever. I'm not into all that stuff. But today I was, and it's weird. It's like, the more you shift your self-concept, which is how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, what you perceive yourself as, everything else changes. And your decisions will change, your feelings will change, and then you kind of turn into this new version of you that is just happier, healthier, more successful in whatever ways you want to be successful in. Makes you feel closer to God, closer to the universe, closer to yourself, closer to whatever you believe in. It just makes you feel like a human, an actual human, instead of somebody that's been hurt a lot or somebody that's identifying from a hurt place. And that can be hard to get out of sometimes. And that's why, I realize these things, and I know these things from working with people throughout the last 11 years and before that even too. And not being paid for it before then, but I did. I did work with people, but not being paid for it. But it's so subtle to just shift a thought, from one state to another. It's just so subtle. And if you think of, I just want to feel some relief, just a little bit of relief, because that's where we manifest from, is from relief of resistance. But also I want you to look at manifestation as this too. The very first manifestation that actually happens is an emotion. Like you feel something. That's a manifestation right there. That's the most important manifestation, is how are we feeling? And then that's when the physical manifestations can start to come in. But the first one is emotions. That every thought is a manifestation. Everything is considered a manifestation if we want to look at it like that. So watch where your feelings and emotions are during your day. Just kind of stay curious about it and look at your universe as, hey, this is my universe. This is my butler. What do I want the butler to buttle for me today? Do I want it to bring me my packages and let me open them one by one excitedly, like it's Christmas morning every day? And what would be in the packages? If I got to choose the packages, which you do, what would be in the packages? One by one, what would it be? Write that down. If I could open up a package, what would it have in it? And how would I feel if I had it? And then you just kind of rehearse. Instead of the word pretend, because I use that word a lot, you could use the word rehearse. Maybe we need to use the word rehearse with adults and pretend with kids. Maybe we could look at it that way if we wanted to. Whatever word resonates with you. But we are rehearsing something all day in our minds. So we might as well rehearse something that feels a little bit more relief. And so that's kind of how you get out of the stuck mental state you might feel that you're in. Just kind of subtly bring yourself out of it. What would feel a little bit better instead of the hamster wheel I'm on, the roller coaster I'm on? Oh my gosh. We were at that pet store yesterday and we saw little hamsters on their little wheels, and one of them was going super fast. I'm surprised he didn't just fly right off. He was going so fast. And that is literally how our minds go sometimes. I'm surprised that we don't have smoke coming out of our ears when our brains are just over functioning. And so the goal is to just kind of like slow that down a little bit. Use whatever you want to use. Of course, I've got my meditation music on my channel. Check those out. See if any of those help you. Just like sit there, even if it's for 5 minutes, just kind of breathe and sit there and listen and see what it does to your brain. Because you've got to slow the human mind down so the spirit mind can come up and kind of help you out. Because it's there, it's ready for you. It wants to give you everything that you want. It's just the human us is covering it up. And it's covering it up from the past, from the world, from the world's opinions. And we're ignoring ourselves. And the more you stop ignoring yourself, the better you're going to feel every time. And again, I come from a personal place of doing this. Nothing has ever felt better than this work that I'm teaching. Nothing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And that's why I love talking about it, because it's so simple, yet it's difficult for us because we're stubborn. I mean, we're just stubborn. We just are. We're like, no, this is who I am. This is the way I think. I can't change, or I don't want to change. And I just don't believe people don't want to change. I just don't really believe that. I think that people have a belief that they're not good enough to change, or they don't know how to change. But I think everyone wants to feel good, I would imagine. I don't think I know one person that would volunteer the information that, yeah, I just want to feel like crap every day. I don't think anybody wants to feel like that. But I think a lot of people are overwhelmed and don't know where to even start. That's something I used to hear from people. I just don't know where to start. There's so many things wrong that I don't know where to start. And it's like, well, where do you start? Well, you start saying things like, the universe is my butler. What if the universe were my butler? What would I ask it to do for me? Or what if the universe were my genie that grants my wishes? What would my wishes be? You don't get only 3 wishes with the universe. You get more than that. So look at that and really think about it. Say some things to yourself that are just kind of funny. Put some humor into this. Have fun with it. Rehearse and pretend something else and see what your brain latches onto, because it will fire and wire new neurons together, just like the alternative that you've already done. You've already fired and wired those neurons, and that's why they're going on the neural pathway in the brain that they already are. So we have to create new ones. And so, and there's so much evidence out there of gratitude and thankfulness and appreciation and how much it affects mental health, how much it just brings your mental health, up and makes you just feel better in general. But again, be your own evidence, do your own research. I highly recommend to not search outside yourself for too much. If you're having fun doing research and you enjoy research, that is awesome. We just need to get to a point where we stop consuming information and start actually implementing it and actually taking it in and really feeling it and seeing what works for us. And that's my whole point of this channel too, is I want to be a disruptor. I'm not just a therapist. That's my job title, but I'm a disruptor. That's what I'm calling myself. I want to disrupt thoughts and create new ones, rewire new ones, so that people can expand their consciousness and expand their life in the way that they really want to. It just might be covered up by heartbreak. And I think we all have heartbreak that we hold on to and grief that we hold on to for things not being the way that we wish they would have been, or the pictures and ideas that we had when we were younger about, I thought things would be this way. And we just hold on to those pictures and words. And now we have to form new pictures and words. That's all we have to do. And so each thought that you have that doesn't feel good, remember to create relief. What would be something that might create relief in me today? And why am I addicted to feeling bad? Because we are addicted to feeling bad. And we say, no, this is just me. This is the way I've always thought. Well, you get to decide today if you want to identify with that or if you want to create a new identity. One that may not make sense today. Sometimes we think 1 + 1 should equal 2. And sometimes, in theory it does. But when it comes to things like this, where it's subjective, life is subjective, life is a perception, it's like, it's not going to make full sense, because we don't need to know the how things are going to happen. We just have to believe that they can in the first place. That's the first step, because the how is taken care of. That's going to show itself naturally. When I learned that about the word naturally, it'll naturally take care of itself, I was like, oh man, because I was trying to control too many things throughout life. I was living from anxiety, living from, I need this to happen for me to feel this way. I have to have this happen because this is the way I planned it, and all these things. And it's like, as soon as I let go, I learned to let go. And you have to learn to let go sometimes. It's like a learning process at times. It doesn't have to be, but sometimes that's just the way that we work. Certain people identify with certain things. So you get to decide again, is this going to take some time or is it not going to take some time? But you get to a place where you're like, I'm sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. I'm ready to feel not sick and tired anymore, ever again. Just tell yourself that. I don't want to feel sick and tired anymore. What do I want? And sometimes the things that we don't want show up because now we can see very clearly what we do prefer versus what we do not prefer. Because whatever showed up that we do not want, maybe we didn't know that we wanted this certain thing until that thing showed up. And that's why things happen the way that they do, to kind of show us. And if we're paying attention, then we'll be able to take the wisdom and the gems from that particular experience and use it to create from. We can use that to create a new foundation to start shooting off these rockets of things that we really want. And sometimes we need more clarity in things that we want. And we need that contrast to kind of come in and show us what we actually do prefer. I believe that we get what we are. So if you're a certain identity, you're going to create from that identity. You're going to get what you are. I think we get what we need, not always what we want. Because sometimes I think we think that we want something, but we don't actually want that. We wanted something else. And then maybe that something else then led us to something else that we didn't even know that we wanted. Life is so fun. We just don't know. That's what's so cool about it. It's like we don't know, but we can kind of create this knowing with no evidence. That's the whole point. You just kind of know that this is who I am now. This is the identity I want to create from. This is who I want to be. And then I don't know how it's going to happen. How exciting. Don't know how it's going to happen. That is so fun to not know when you're able to let go. It's not very fun whenever you can't let go. So you have to work on letting go of the control and the force. And that is through regulating your emotions, figuring out where you're at during your day, what is making you anxious, what is making you upset. If you're at a job you hate, for instance, like you just hate this job, first of all, I would take the word hate out of your vocabulary and I would put in there something else. I dislike this, or this job is my contrast. So if this job is your contrast, it's showing you something about you. It's showing you something. What is it trying to tell you? What is it trying to teach you? Because when you look at it from a different perspective, it changes you. The job is working on you. It's shaping and molding you into something else. It's going to lead you to something else. And so it might lead you to your next new job. You never know. So it's like you got to reframe each thing that is bothering you as well to kind of train your brain to start looking at it from a different side. If you're used to looking at it from the left side, start looking at it from the right side. There are a million ways to look at everything. There's not just yes or no. There's not just black or white. There are shades of all different colors in there. There are all different answers in there. Just don't try to find all those things. Just know that all possibilities exist. All possibilities exist. And if that's true, and you get to decide if it is or not for you, if you say, yeah, I believe that's true, then you let go a lot easier because you know that somehow this is for your benefit. And when you take the wisdom from it, it's not going to show up anymore. And if it does show up, you're going to look at it in a totally different way. It's not going to bother you like it did before. Or all of a sudden you'll be like, no, I kind of want to go this way now. Oh, I'm more interested in this now. Or, oh, I like that better now than I used to. No, oh, I'm noticing that thing isn't really like taking me to my knees anymore in despair. I'm actually able to handle it better now. So it's constantly kind of just feeling out where you're at, checking in with your body. I do recommend checking in with your body a few times a day. I used to set an alarm to do that years ago. About 10 years ago, I remember I did that. Just to like do a body scan, like scan your body for tension. Because normally my shoulders are up here. And I have to tell myself, bring your shoulders down. Bring them down. Unclench your jaw. Unclench your teeth, or sometimes we're squinting, and sometimes we're grinding our teeth. We don't even know it during the day. We're just clenching because we're just like almost like bracing for something bad to happen, but nothing's really happening. It's like we're just bracing for it, and that's never good. And so that indicates that there's some stress going on. So we need to watch ourselves, be very aware of yourself instead of being aware of so much going on outside of you. Really start to look within and see where you're feeling anxious or just overall just not feeling good, not feeling confident, not feeling capable. Those are other things to look for. Where do you feel like you're not good enough? And examine during the day, where is that thought even coming from? Who told me that? Where did that even come from? I don't even know. And sometimes it's like, it just doesn't make sense to even hold the thought anymore. It literally doesn't make any sense. And then you can let it go. It's nonsensical to say, this is nonsensical. So that's one thing. Remember, the universe is your butler. Let's see. And I want you to start expecting things. That's another thing. People are like, if I expect something and it doesn't happen, I'm going to be disappointed. I understand. I totally get that. That's why it's like, decide the identity that you want to live from. Just start deciding, who is it that I want to be? You got to form that foundational self first before anything else. It's like, who do I want to be? And decide that, because once you're actually feeling this new you emerging and you become this new you by thinking different thoughts and changing your beliefs, your belief systems, start changing your self-concept, the way that you see yourself, the way you speak to yourself, the way you think about yourself, what you literally say to yourself inside your mind every day about yourself, when you look in the mirror, all those things. When you actually become that version, everything else kind of naturally starts to happen. So you don't have to worry about, what if this happens or what if it doesn't happen? You just create a knowing inside yourself with no evidence. Just create that, because it feels better than the alternative. And that's what starts to fire and wire in your brain. And you'll start to get the things that are shaping and molding you for maybe that person that actually does have that stuff that you want. Maybe you needed to go through a couple of things before you get what you want. Maybe you're not actually ready for that. I wanted children my whole life. I got versions of having children throughout my life. I had times when I could have had children. I chose not to. I had times when I could have had stepchildren. I chose not to. And then when I became a therapist, I had all of these children that I saw and still see now. And I learned how to parent through seeing these children, which was amazing. And so I don't think I could have done both. And I think that I had to not make it as personal. I'm holding back some of my personal stuff in this, but there were a few reasons why I can look back and see why I'm so glad I didn't have a child yet. I could eventually have one, but there's a fear of childbirth. I do have that in me. And there's some other personal things that I just decided, I was like, I don't think that's a good thing for me right now. So, and there's still time later if I really want to, but I get to have that fulfillment through my job. And I never would have thought that would have come through that when I was younger. And I thought that I wanted these certain things. So, and I also, to me, I would have been selfish if I had a child, because I don't think I would have been fully ready for that. And so I know I made the right choices, and that feels really good. So that's another thing. Look back at all your choices, all the choices that you feel helped you make progress, which is all of them. All of your choices helped you make progress. Every single one of them. Don't look back and be like, oh man, I regret this. I suck because I did this. I should have done this. I could have done that. Don't ever do that to yourself. That is, again, hurting yourself, abusing yourself, if you want to get real, technical with it. Just look back and say, man, look at the progress I made. I'm a great human. I've done a lot in my life. I've been through a lot in my life. I've survived a lot in my life. Look at the progress I've made. This is awesome. Just because it doesn't look exactly like I thought it would, man, look at how it does look. And then what do I want to do now? Let's go do some stuff. Let's figure it out. Hey, butler, bring me my packages. And then open them up. See how it would feel to open up those packages. And just keep going with that. And talk to the butler every day. Be like, good morning, butler. What are you buttling for me today? Just like something weird and dumb like that, Just anything that'll make you laugh. And just create a character or something that you talk to every day. Do something else. Do something different to disrupt yourself. You got to do that. Because you can't keep going the same way you've always gone and expect to get something different. That's insanity. We know that. So you have to do something else if you want something else. So I will leave you with that. I think I could go on and on. There were so many things that I wanted to talk about too, but let me think. Oh, I wanted to ask also about your, for you to think about your gifts and your roles and your assignments that you've been given here while you're here on earth. What do you think those are? Your gifts, your roles, and your assignments. What's your assignment? I think my gift is definitely helping others find themselves and feel better, learn how to feel better, empower people, uplift people, disrupt people. That's my gift. I think I'm really good at that. And it took a lot for me to be able to realize that and say that about myself. I want you guys to think about your gifts and say that. I'm good at this. I am good at this. I'm great at this. Say those things to yourself because yourself is hearing yourself. That's the biggest thing to remember. Yourself hears yourself. So start saying those things. You deserve the best. What is your assignment here? What do you think? Maybe not your purpose. What's your assignment? Maybe your assignment is to feel worthy. Maybe that's your number one assignment. And then from there, your other assignments will be revealed. Maybe you don't know your purpose yet because maybe your first step to getting to your purpose is to figure out that you're worthy, or to find your self-worth, or to change your self-concept. Maybe that's your first step. Think about that. Maybe you got some first steps you got to go through to find the answers. It just kind of, it unfolds as you kind of uncover a layer, it starts unfolding. That's what's so cool about this. I've experienced this. That's why I'm so passionate about it. So I'm going to keep talking about it. This is video 48. Thank you guys for sticking with me. This is, I'm sure I've rambled. This is a long video. I got to go eat lunch now. But I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, subscribe. Share this with anybody you know that might help them today. It's Saturday. I thought I'd do a longer video. So just kind of cozy. It's raining. We have a flood watch. I think everybody in the country has a flood watch today, it seems like. But be careful out there and be safe. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.